In 2007, a hiker found a human skeleton strapped to a cactus in the middle of Mexico's Chihuahua Desert. The body had been pierced by spikes, and next to it, a blood-stained shirt. But this was no fresh crime scene. This discovery was linked to a couple who vanished 13 years earlier. Their story begins long before that horrifying day. Imagine packing your bags for the trip of a lifetime. The open road ahead, the desert sun blazing, and your partner by your side. For Ethan Morrison and Alice Patterson, this was supposed to be an unforgettable holiday adventure. But what they didn't know was that it would also be their last. In March of 1994, the young couple vanished without a trace in Mexico's Chihuahua Desert. For 13 years, their fate remained a haunting mystery until that shocking discovery changed everything. Ethan Morrison was born in Portland, Oregon in 1965. The youngest of three brothers, he grew up with a restless energy. He loved hiking, photography, and the thrill of the unknown. By his late 20s, Ethan was already an accomplished amateur photographer, his landscapes published in small travel magazines. Friends described him as adventurous, quick to laugh, and drawn to risks others would avoid. Alice Patterson was born in Seattle, Washington in 1967. She grew up surrounded by books and maps. Her father was a history teacher, her mother a librarian. From childhood, Alice developed a fascination with ancient cultures, particularly Mesoamerican civilizations. By 1994, she was pursuing graduate studies in archaeology. Unlike Ethan's impulsive streak, Alice was analytical, thoughtful, and grounded. They met in 1991 at a university photography exhibit in Eugene. Ethan was displaying his desert landscapes. Alice attended out of curiosity. He noticed her sketching one of his photos in her notebook. Their conversation that evening lasted hours, and from that moment on, their lives intertwined. He offered adventure, she offered perspective. Together, they were balance and chaos. By early 1994, the couple had been dating for 3 years. Ethan proposed the idea of a road trip into Mexico, through desert plains, historic towns, and ancient ruins. For Alice, it was an opportunity to see archaeological sites she had only read about. For Ethan, it was the chance to capture dramatic landscapes through his lens. They packed Ethan's beat-up Jeep Cherokee with camping gear, maps, film rolls, notebooks, and a small cassette player for music. Their plan? Cross into Mexico, travel south through Chihuahua, visit old missions and local villages, then return within 2 weeks. On March 10, 1994, they waved goodbye to their families in Oregon and began the drive south. Both were excited. Neither knew they would never return. 5 days later, they crossed the border at El Paso, Texas, into Ciudad Juarez. From there, they ventured deeper into the Chihuahua Desert, a vast, unforgiving region covering over 200,000 square miles. Temperatures could soar above 110 degrees by day and plunge below freezing at night. Survival required preparation. Still, Ethan and Alice appeared confident. They checked into a small motel on March 14th. From that room, they called their families, assuring them that everything was fine. Their voices were cheerful. The next morning, March 15th, they were gone. That was the last anyone ever heard from them. When the couple failed to return to Oregon by the end of March, panic set in. Ethan's parents contacted U.S. authorities, while Alice's family reached out to Mexican police. Investigations began immediately. Search teams were dispatched. Helicopters scanned desert highways. Police questioned locals, searching for anyone who might have seen the foreign travelers. Yet there was nothing. No jeep, no footprints, no belongings, no bodies. It was as though the couple had simply vanished into thin air. The silence was unbearable. Families clung to hope, but with each passing day, that hope grew thinner. To understand what might happen to Ethan and Alice, one must understand the Chihuahua Desert. It is a place of extremes, scorching by day, freezing by night. Rattlesnakes, scorpions, and wild coyotes roam its sands. But the dangers are not only natural. The desert has long been a corridor for smugglers, cartel movements, and whispered stories of ritual activity. Locals tell of strange lights flickering in the distance. Some believe they are spirits of the dead. Others claim they are warnings. Legends date back centuries. Ancient tribes who practiced rituals under the desert moon, leaving behind petroglyphs carved into stone. For Ethan and Alice, these were stories. For those who live here, they were warnings. Through the spring of 1994, search efforts intensified. Mexican police interviewed motel staff. Yes, Ethan and Alice stayed there. Yes, they left the morning of March 15th. But where they went next, no one knew. American officials pressured local law enforcement. Families put out reward offers. Volunteers combed highways with binoculars. Nothing. Every lead turned into a dead end. By the summer, the case went cold. Newspapers in Oregon ran stories of the missing couple. For Alice's parents, each day was agony. For Ethan's brothers, each silence was unbearable. The desert gave no answers, only questions. Then, in 2007, hope turned to horror. A hiker exploring a remote stretch of desert stumbled upon something macabre. There, tied against a towering cactus with leather straps, was a human skeleton. The cactus spines had pierced deep into the body. Nearby lay a torn, blood-stained tank top, shredded by sun and wind. The discovery shocked investigators. 13 years after Ethan and Alice vanished, could this finally be the answer? The skeleton appeared to be female. Authorities speculated it might belong to Alice Patterson, yet the desert had erased all certainty. Dental records were inconclusive. DNA analysis at the time was limited and later complicated by contamination. But the manner of death was disturbing. The straps, the cactus, the positioning, this was not a natural death. Was it torture, a cruel execution, or some ritual older than modern memory? If the skeleton belonged to Alice, then the question became unavoidable. Where was Ethan Morrison? Why was there no trace of him? No bones, no clothing, no evidence at all. Some believed Ethan had been taken elsewhere, perhaps killed and buried in the desert. Others speculated something darker, that he might have survived, only to vanish by choice. But to his family, that idea was unthinkable. Over the years, 3 dominant theories emerged. The first, criminal involvement. The Chihuahua Desert is a notorious smuggling route. Perhaps the couple crossed paths with the wrong people, drug traffickers, bandits, or gangs who silenced them permanently. The second, ritual sacrifice. The body tied to the cactus suggested ritualistic execution. Could a local cult have revived ancient practices, choosing Alice as their victim? The third, accident and despair. Some argued Ethan and Alice got lost. Starving and dehydrated, perhaps madness set in. But could 2 prepared travelers really vanish so completely, leaving no trace of Ethan at all? Each theory has its believers. None have proof. For the families, the mystery is unbearable. Alice's parents still keep her childhood bedroom intact. Ethan's brothers continue to search for any scrap of information. For them, closure has never come. Even after decades, anniversaries pass in silence. Birthdays become moments of mourning. The desert's emptiness echoes louder than any answer. Today, more than 30 years later, the fate of Ethan Morrison and Alice Patterson remains unsolved. Were they victims of crime, of ritual, or forces beyond comprehension? The Chihuahua Desert holds many stories of survival, of death, of mysteries swallowed by the sands. But perhaps none are as haunting as the vanishing of Ethan and Alice. The desert keeps its secrets, and perhaps it always will. So, what do you think really happened to Ethan and Alice? Were they victims of a cartel, a ritual sacrifice, or something far stranger? Share your theory in the comments. I'll be reading them all.